Coming up then from 7:45. Kick-off fast approaching then the 7:45 UEFA Nations League game between Spain and Croatia. Both managers have made a strong starting 11 claim. Luis Enrique, now the Spain boss, of course Dalic, the Croatia boss, still in charge from the World Cup. It's 2 wins in 5 for Spain, it's 3 wins in 5 for Croatia. Croatia come into this on the back of a friendly against Portugal, 1-1 on Thursday, while Spain beat England on Saturday evening. For Croatia, there's no Mandzukic up top. That means that Santini leads the line. Mitrovic and Vida will start in defence, with Dejan Lovren still not fit. For Spain, it's a back forward of Gaia, Ramos, Fernandez and Carvajal as they try and kick forward, and it's Rodrigo that's going to start to lead the line. It's kick-off coming up then from 7:45. Kick-off fast approaching then the 7:45 UEFA Nations League game between Spain and Croatia. Both managers have made a strong starting 11 claim. Luis Enrique, now the Spain boss, of course Dalic, the Croatia boss, still in charge from the World Cup. It's 2 wins in 5 for Spain, it's 3 wins in 5 for Croatia. Croatia come into this on the back of a friendly against Portugal, 1-1 on Thursday, while Spain beat England on Saturday evening. For Croatia, there's no Mandzukic up top. That means that Santini leads the line. Mitrovic and Vida will start in defence, with Dejan Lovren still not fit. For Spain, it's a back forward of Gaia, Ramos, Fernandez and Carvajal as they try and kick forward, and it's Rodrigo that's going to start to lead the line. It's kick-off coming up then from 7:45. Kick-off fast approaching then the 7:45 UEFA Nations League game between Spain and Croatia. Both managers have made a strong starting 11 claim. Luis Enrique, now the Spain boss, of course Dalic, the Croatia boss, still in charge from the World Cup. It's 2 wins in 5 for Spain, it's 3 wins in 5 for Croatia. Croatia come into this on the back of a friendly against Portugal, 1-1 on Thursday, while Spain beat England on Saturday evening. For Croatia, there's no Mandzukic up top. That means that Santini leads the line. Mitrovic and Vida will start in defence, with Dejan Lovren still not fit. For Spain, it's a back forward of Gaia, Ramos, Fernandez and Carvajal as they try and kick forward, and it's Rodrigo that's going to start to lead the line. It's kick-off coming up then from 7:45. Kick-off fast approaching then the 7:45 UEFA Nations League game between Spain and Croatia. Both managers have made a strong starting 11 claim. Luis Enrique, now the Spain boss, of course Dalic, the Croatia boss, still in charge from the World Cup. It's 2 wins in 5 for Spain, it's 3 wins in 5 for Croatia. Croatia come into this on the back of a friendly against Portugal, 1-1 on Thursday, while Spain beat England on Saturday evening. For Croatia, there's no Mandzukic up top. That means that Santini leads the line. Mitrovic and Vida will start in defence, with Dejan Lovren still not fit. For Spain, it's a back forward of Gaia, Ramos, Fernandez and Carvajal as they try and kick forward, and it's Rodrigo that's going to start to lead the line. It's kick-off coming up then from 7:45. Kick-off fast approaching then the 7:45 UEFA Nations League game between Spain and Croatia. Both managers have made a strong starting 11 claim. Luis Enrique, now the Spain boss, of course Dalic, the Croatia boss, still in charge from the World Cup. It's 2 wins in 5 for Spain, it's 3 wins in 5 for Croatia. Croatia come into this on the back of a friendly against Portugal, 1-1 on Thursday, while Spain beat England on Saturday evening. For Croatia, there's no Mandzukic up top. That means that Santini leads the line. Mitrovic and Vida will start in defence, with Dejan Lovren still not fit. For Spain, it's a back forward of Gaia, Ramos, Fernandez and Carvajal as they try and kick forward, and it's Rodrigo that's going to start to lead the line. It's kick-off coming up then from 7:45. Kick-off fast approaching then the 7:45 UEFA Nations League game between Spain and Croatia. Croatia. Both managers have made a strong starting 11 claim. Luis Enrique, now the Spain boss, of course, Dalic, the Croatia boss, still in charge from the World Cup. It's 2 wins in 5 for Spain, it's 3 wins in 5 for Croatia. Croatia come into this on the back of a friendly against Portugal, 1-1 on Thursday, while Spain beat England on Saturday evening. For Croatia, there's no Mandzukic up top. That means that Santini leads the line. Mitrovic and Vida will start in defence, with Dejan Lovren still not fit. For Spain, the back forward of Gaia, Ramos, Fernandez and Carvajal as they try and kick forward, and it's Rodrigo that's going to start to lead the line. It's kick-off coming up then from 7:45. Kick-off fast approaching then, the 7:45 UEFA Nations League game between Spain and Croatia. Both managers have made a strong starting 11 claim. Luis Enrique, now the Spain boss, of course, Dalic, the Croatia boss, still in charge from the World Cup. It's 2 wins in 5 for Spain, it's 3 wins in 5 for Croatia. Croatia come into this on the back of a friendly against Portugal, 1-1 on Thursday, while Spain beat England on Saturday evening. For Croatia, there's no Mandzukic up top. That means that Santini leads the line. Mitrovic and Vida will start in defence, with Dejan Lovren still not fit. For Spain, the back forward of Gaia, Ramos, Fernandez and Carvajal as they try and kick forward, and it's Rodrigo that's going to start to lead the line. It's kick-off coming up then from 7:45. Kick-off fast approaching then, the 7:45 UEFA Nations League game between Spain and Croatia. Both managers have made a strong starting 11 claim. Luis Enrique, now the Spain boss, of course, Dalic, the Croatia boss, still in charge from the World Cup. It's 2 wins in 5 for Spain, it's 3 wins in 5 for Croatia. Croatia come into this on the back of a friendly against Portugal, 1-1 on Thursday, while Spain beat England on Saturday evening. For Croatia, there's no Mandzukic up top. That means that Santini leads the line. Mitrovic and Vida will start in defence, with Dejan Lovren still not fit. For Spain, the back forward of Gaia, Ramos, Fernandez and Carvajal as they try and kick forward, and it's Rodrigo that's going to start to lead the line. It's kick-off coming up then from 7:45. Kick-off fast approaching then, the 7:45 UEFA Nations League game between Spain and Croatia. Both managers have made a strong starting 11 claim. Luis Enrique, now the Spain boss, of course, Dalic, the Croatia boss, still in charge from the World Cup. It's 2 wins in 5 for Spain, it's 3 wins in 5 for Croatia. Croatia come into this on the back of a friendly against Portugal, 1-1 on Thursday, while Spain beat England on Saturday evening. For Croatia, there's no Mandzukic up top. That means that Santini leads the line. Mitrovic and Vida will start in defence, with Dejan Lovren still not. Well, a warm welcome along then to our coverage of this UEFA Nations League game. It is Spain versus Croatia, the game being played in Elche this evening. This is a Group 4 clash between these two sides, and these teams partnered with England in their three-way. See how they can get along. See if they can pick up. They're in League A. It's a subsidiary of League A, should I say. It's a little bit confusing for some fans at the minute. There's different groups in each league, but we can talk about that in a second. It's Spain in their all red shirts and the blue shorts, which is their traditional home kit, in Croatia in their away strip that we saw on a number of occasions at the World Cup. Of course, Croatia getting to the World Cup final in Russia, beating England, which we won't speak about ever again. As the goalkeeper now, David De Gea, gets the ball back at the heart of Spain's defence. Myself, Tom Hill, Will Maxwell this evening, our first game this season together, and this is not a bad one, Will.
No, it's with the both very quality international sides. Obviously we saw the incredible prowess really that Croatia had. I don't think anyone really would have expected them to get as far as they did in the World Cup. Spain somewhat underperformed, going out on penalties to the hosts Russia, which was probably the shock of the tournament. But with the sides that they've both put out today, they're both very strong, especially going forward. The likes of Modric, Perisic and Kovacic, I think, would be very impressive for Croatia today.
Yeah, it's a very good front three, or middle three should we say, with Rakitic and Brozovic in behind. There's a chance here to go over the top, and well caught in the end by Kalinic. And Croatia having to play it out from the back and not taking any risks here. Carvajal, who was involved in that clash with Luke Shaw in midweek, is the man that has just decided to play it back inside. Good to see reports today of Carvajal reportedly texting Luke Shaw asking if he was okay. It was an accidental clash which Shaw came off worse on, but back for concussion tests this week and hopefully back next week will fail protocol this time around as Spain come forward. Good chance for them to go through the middle. Rodrigo's gone in behind. Salniguet out towards the left-hand side. Isco's out there. Paul ball in behind. It was an attempt to try and play it into the channel. And Isco and co unable to get there. We've seen Zlatko Dalic looking pretty fresh. Suit with jumper. I say suit. Shirt and tie, jumper, trousers, trainers.
It's a bit of a dad look, I'd say.
It's interesting. But a manager that's done incredibly well with this national team. As you say, well, they were a surprise package at the summer tournament in Russia. As Kalinic goes out towards this left-hand side, it's headed back by Spain. That's Busquets, who's going to try and win the header and does so successfully. Back instead to Kalinic. And we try and come forward now and get the ball out on this left-hand side with Pivarik. He goes down the line. That's a misread clearance from Spain. That's allowed Perisic to run onto it into the box. Right footed strike. It's blocked. The second deflection lashed off a Spain player, but they've still got speed to get there, and that'll be a free kick. A bit of a needless shove from Kovacic into the back of one of the Spanish players. And the chance goes begging, but a half chance there for Croatia. Will.
Yeah, possibly even more of a half chance. It was a great break there by Ivan Perisic, and I'm not entirely sure if he has the best of support that he really should have got in that situation. I think in the end he just takes too long trying to size up Nacho in the centre of defence, and he just can't squeeze his shot past him and to really trouble De Gea, and in the end it was quite a simple block for Nacho to make.
Luis Enrique is on the sidelines again, and of course interesting role for him after leaving Barcelona. Took a sabbatical and now back at management roles, working probably a few less days a week than he would normally have to, or at least more luxurious hours. He has to travel Spain to look at the teams and the players he wants to assess. As here's David De Gea at goalkeeper position. But into Busquets, it's a shocking back pass. He sold his defender Nacho short. It's into the middle for Brozovic. Right footed strike towards the far corner, and it's whipped wide. And in fact, it was Rakitic that picked his spot. And it was Rakitic that just couldn't find that bottom corner.
Yeah, very high pressing line there from Croatia. Forced Spain into an issue. Although the first error by Sergio Busquets is so needless. It's just incredibly sloppy play from him. Not sure if he's trying to go back towards De Gea or Nacho. And in the end, the chance falls to Rakitic, and he's got the right idea, trying to curl it round the defence and past an unsighted David De Gea, but it just goes past of the left-hand post of the Spanish goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's a warning sign for Spain, as there is Ramos in defence. De Gea across to Ramos again, and it's back out down forward down the left-hand side.
Now Sergio Busquets plays it forward towards Rodrigo, and has gone backwards towards Carvajal. The pressure from Croatia is still very, very high. No real chances here so far from Spain. Having to pass it around the back very slowly. In fact, every single player has stopped on the pitch for the time being. In the end, Nacho decides to play it left towards Sergio Ramos. Just give you a list of the lineups here. It will be for Spain, it's David De Gea in goal. The defence of Dani Carvajal, Nacho, Sergio Ramos and Gaia. A three-man midfield has Sergio Busquets, Saul Niguez and Dani Ceballos. And the front three of Isco, Marco Asensio and Rodrigo. The team for Croatia has Kalinic in goal, Pivarik, Vida, Mitrovic and Veselko in the defence. Midfield has Perisic, Brozovic, Modric, Rakitic and Kovacic, a five-man midfield, and Santini, the lone man, up top. Spain still struggling to break down this Croatia defence. Then I'd say that it's a much different side, at least especially in the defence of Croatia. Obviously, they've lost their main keeper in Subasic. What do you think of this new look defensive?
Weak. They're missing the best defender in the world as well, Dejan Lovren.
Yes, of course.
So
self-proclaimed best defender in the world.
How you forgot that is beyond me. But yeah, all joking aside, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I thought Vida did quite well at the World Cup. I actually traditionally thought he was a little bit clumsy. He'll break off here because Carvajal comes down the right across the face of goal. It's almost turned into his own net. on that occasion by Mitrovic, but he eventually managed to steer it wide for a corner, and Spain will put the big boys forward. I mean, Vasalko's fine. Pivorik I've seen in the Europa League, and he was more than impressive enough, and I'm a massive fan of his. Vida, you can't really say he doesn't deserve to be in his place, so Mitrovic and Kalinic are the two that you'd be worried about. For Spain's point of view, I think they'd certainly got potential to unlock this defence, as we see this corner taken short. Ramos heads it back, chance to hit it towards goal again, but a low and hard pass, a backheel attempt from Spain. It's a bit of a foul in the box, should be clumsy as you like really from it. Looks like it's Busquets that's just gone straight to the back of his man. In fact, it was I think it's Ceballos. It is. Went for the 1-2, attempted with Busquets, and Busquets the man that eventually did then make the foul. But yeah, I mean, Lovren hasn't played since the World Cup, has he?
I don't think he has, no.
So he's still nursing the injury that he actually aggravated at the tournament. So you can understand Liverpool. Let's say if he's 75% fit, you can understand Liverpool saying to Croatia, well, actually he's going nowhere because he got injured on your watch. So not that obviously it was intentional, but
of course not. I mean, there's plenty of other Nations League football happening at the moment. There's only been one goal so far in the game. I'm not sure many people will be attending. San Marino versus Luxembourg. Luxembourg are the team that are ahead in that match.
Yeah, enjoyed a good couple of results of Luxembourg.
Indeed.
It's a couple of nations were humbled. Iceland was certainly embarrassed. Thumped 6-0 as a long ball played forward. It's cleared only into the path of Spain, left back Gaia. Here's Busquets, wants to work the 1-2 with Ceballos, and does. Nacho to club teammate Ramos. Two Real Madrid stars play along the back four. Back inside to Busquets again, who will just marshal that defence. And it's now back to David De Gea in goal. A chance to give you an update of what we've seen so far. In fact, we'll break off as a mistake here. Spain are giving it away again. Brozovic runs into trouble. Then Rakitic, in fact, it's the one. Should I say? I keep forgetting Rakitic is wearing 7. It's Rakitic again that's run into trouble as Spain come forward down the left edge, trying to build from the back. Now they've gone backwards, trying to slowly build out the back. There's been a few warning signs. Early stages of the game between Spain and Croatia, and one real chance to speak of is that from Rakitic in the 5th minute. A shocking back pass from Busquets put Nacho under pressure. Nacho then put the rest of his team under pressure when he played it straight into the path of Rakitic, who opened his body up, curled it towards the far corner. He had De Gea panicking but could only miss the target. Perisic has looked lively, as has Kovacic and Brozovic. Not seen too much of Modric so far, and Spain just going through the motions. They're the ones that probably need to improve in possession. But of course, there's plenty of time on their side, still goalless.
Spain are beginning to find their feet in this match with consistent possession, as we know they like to play with, and they now have Nacho on the ball looking for support. In the end, he's gone long towards Carvajal. It was a good intent of a ball. I think he might have just strayed offside. If he's on though, he had plenty of support and the likes of Rodrigo and Asensio in the middle for him. It's been another goal in the Nations League. It's Finland who've taken the lead against Estonia in the League C bracket. Now Croatia can restart here with Kalinic. It goes left towards Vida, man who was linked with Arsenal towards the end of the transfer window just gone. Not sure if it was a signing that definitely would have benefited. Well, they might have benefited Arsenal, to be fair, with an injury crisis in defence for them. Now Mitrovic playing it back towards Vida. It's got limited support. I think it's Modric just appealing for it. In the end, he's aimed long towards left-back Pivovic, who was the furthest player forward for Croatia, way above his striker, because he hasn't been the biggest name in Croatian football for very long.
I think the main thing that Mandzukic does, and does so well, is put himself about. The fact that he's actually played as a left midfielder for Juventus to allow the other strikers who, and there's no real reason to say they're better than him. He's got a great scoring record, but a cracking record in the Bundesliga before he moved. He's just got to put himself about. He's done that there following kicking somebody, which is not really, now he's limiting his chances to put a big shift in, to throw himself into tackle, to try and jump for headers. But Mandzukic is the thing about what I found fascinating about him is his adaptability, the way he brings himself into the game, the fact that Modric, Rakitic, anyone really can go in behind him. He's got to be flexible, Santini, and I think that's what Dalic would like, that whoever's going to replace their centre forward over the years does have that, I guess, pace, strength, all-round game. Really, you wouldn't really ever find, you know, Higuain effective down the right wing, would you? That's why at Juventus he has to play through the middle. As both played in. Here's Modric towards the right hand side. Santini, right for his striker, he's missed the target. That's one other thing you can do as Vasalko cuts the ball back. The other thing is do your job in front of goal, and he's missed a target, Will, and I think he's actually missed it totally rather than getting a deflection. Yeah,
I think that could be regarded as a bit of a sitter to be missed. It is a massive chance. He's about 6 yards out of goal. Sure, De Gea has come out to close down the angle, but it's such a fantastic opportunity to not only hit the target, but just to score in general. Croatia have definitely had the better of the chances so far, and it's going to go down as a big miss for Santini. There's been another goal in the League C bracket. Hungary have taken the lead against Greece, so goal was beginning to fly in across the Nations League, this new tournament, and Ramos has given the ball to Gaia. He's won the ball back and he's now aimed towards Isco. He's being harried by 3 Croatia players.
Shocking back pass across the face of goal. You get taught. I mean, what on earth? What? We're only 40 minutes in, but every chance Croatia have had, they've actually been given to by Spain. Really,
it really has. Yeah, I mean, it's not really the passing and play that we know of from Spain, but in all fairness to Croatia, the way they're pressing so high up and forcing the issues in those areas is really quite admirable, because Spain are really struggling to play their way out and play the Spain way, if you will. And I think that's
cross goal though. Is bizarre.
It's a very silly decision there. I think it was either Isco or Ramos that played that ball. So dangerous. A good whip in there though, and it was Rodrigo that just got in front of Vida, and Kalinic just about got 2 hands towards it. That's probably the first major chance that Spain have had in this game.
Yeah, it's not a bad touch, but it's a decent save in terms of the fact he stretches out, doesn't spill possession, but he gets in front of Vida, which you wouldn't necessarily would have thought would be the case for strength. But that's their first real response, and let's hope it kick-starts the game a little, because Croatia have been the dominant team so far. We're around 15 in. That's better from Spain. Nicely worked over the top. That was the plan anyway. Rodrigo didn't react to Sandy Gueth's pass, and Gueth just turns around and encourages his teammates. Asensio's on the right. I don't think we've mentioned him more than once. The key player for me in Spain's attack is Marco Asensio. Going to be pulled up here because Sandegraaff has gone to the back of, I think it's Pivarik, and it gives a free kick away. It's a good job that they went down and got a free kick, because they were in behind there, Spain.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be many opportunities coming from just open play and just the initial attacks from either of these sides. It's all mainly coming from defensive issues. There was another defensive error there, this time for the first time really from Croatia. But it was a good thing they got that free kick, because it could have been very, very dangerous. Just noticing during this first 16 minutes, there's been a couple of issues between the real front 3 of Croatia and the back line of Spain. There's been a fair few arguments. There's a chance now though for Croatia. The ball's come across to Ivan Perisic, and that's a fantastic block from Dani Carvajal. It's such an important interception there. Perisic was basically one-on-one with De Gea. If he gets it past the lunging tackle of Carvajal, it's a certain goal for the Croatia side. And luckily for Spain, Carvajal got in front of his man, and De Gea just about gathered it up.
I mean, in terms of last-ditch defending, that doesn't really get much better, does it? That was brilliant. It really was. I was trying to have a look at a couple of the benches actually, and you look at the squad lists. Always seems strange as well, looking at Spain's team now, that obviously you is so used to seeing so many key names in their rankings, but now obviously it's a little bit I won't say weaker, but different to what it once was. Albiol, I mean, of course Alonso can't even get in the team. Aspas is flying for Celta Vigo. Azpilicueta can't get in the side. He'd walk into most Premier League defences.
Yeah.
Morata.
No Thiago either.
No Thiago, of course. Suso does well for Milan. So it is a very much different Spain team. Badelj is one of the players that plays for Croatia quite often. And you're looking at other ones: Pasadic, Piaka, Rog. They all featured and Milik at the World Cup. So bench-wise, I wouldn't say there's that much difference. We'll see a free kick here, or at least should be a free kick. That's we're seeing a replay of a Rakitic stray arm into the face of Ceballos. We get a replay here of that Perisic chance. The minute it takes a touch, though, well, he gives Carvajal that chance, but I don't think he can actually strike it first time. No, it's too close to his feet.
Yeah, it's kind of come at him with such pace, and the initial first touch of Perisic slows the ball down to the extent that he's sort of stumbling towards the ball before he can strike it, which gives Carvajal that a few microseconds to get his body just about in front of the effort. So you could argue it's maybe a mixture of good defending and just a poor first touch, but either way, credit has to be given to Carvajal. And I think by the looks of things, Versalico is actually going to have to come off here. I think the physio for Croatia did a gesture towards the bench that Versalico might not be able to continue. Just going. It doesn't look like he is going to be able to continue. He struggled with injuries in the past for Zalico. He's not happy at all. He's just getting some words from Rakitic, maybe just to ease his mind. I'm not fully certain exactly what happened though to him. It's either his calf or his hamstring that's being rubbed. He's getting helped off the pitch by the physio.
Yeah, he knows his night's done. And it is Rog that's going to come off. So aptly mentioned, I just brought him up a couple of moments ago, and Rog comes on, the number 18. So that's a disappointment, of course, for Inter as well, club level, and a big player in this defence, a man that was key in the World Cup. Will.
Yeah, it was massively important to what was a very impressive Croatia side. It's been another goal in the Nations League. Greece have got an equaliser against Hungary, so a goal fest could be on the cards in that match. Still very early on, only 20 minutes gone in this match. Rog will slip in on that right hand side. No real change of formation by the looks of things. Ball here has found its way backwards towards Kalinic. He's got obviously some very big gloves to fill, should we say, obviously with Subasic no longer in the picture.
Yeah, I mean, it must be hard as well for goalkeeper, for any player, that when they've come on, I think that's why I think England are going to struggle, because they've had such a high. You think to yourself, should I carry on? Not really. It's just, if there was any doubt in your mind originally, once you've got to that level when you're not supposed to really on paper, or so they said, you can understand why anybody really in the last couple of years, both even for Spain at group level when they got knocked out in the last 16, there were a few players, weren't there, that just said, right, enough's enough now, because the whole qualifying campaign takes so long and takes it out of you. So we see the ball played backwards now. That is Rodrigo, that's gone short for it. We're almost at the halfway point where Will can take us through to half-time, but I'll bring you an update before Will can take over. Ramos and Nacho interchange passes. I feel them two should be on the same wavelength because they're actually club teammates, but Nacho just kicks it straight out of play for Dani Carvajal, who's another Real Madrid defender. So 3 of the back 4 play for the same team, and they look like they're playing like they've just met each other 22 minutes ago. Real lack of communication, as there's Nacho in behind and just cushions it back to Ramos, and Spain will start again. So with not much happening, a chance to update you. Spain 0, Croatia has the latest score from the game in Elche, but both teams have now finally had chances. Spain's came from a guy cross for Rodrigo, and his attempt towards goal after he got in front of Vida was blocked in the end by Kalinic. For Croatia, they've had 3 more attempts. Santini's volleyed wide, and that should have been 1-0. Perisic had a volley blocked by Carvajal, and that should have been another goal as well. While they've also had a missed opportunity to really kick on from right back, because Vesalco's gone off injured. He had to be replaced by Rog, and that's a real blow for both international and club level at this stage of the season. But approaching the halfway point in the first half, and it remains goalless.
The ball has found its way forward towards Asensio, who's managed to just about skip away from the incoming tackle of Brozovic. And now he'll find his way on the right-hand side, trying to take on a mixture of Pivovic and Brozovic. Gives it to Carvajal. And in the end, the ball has found its way back towards Nacho. With Sergio Ramos now spreading the play towards the left-hand side with Isco. Ramos is trying to do a long, stretching ball towards Carvajal, which Carvajal takes well. Good chance now for Hussein. It's a brilliant ball in by Carvajal, and so even better header from Saul Niguez. It's the opening goal in this match. Spain 1, Croatia 0. A brilliant downward header back across the face of goal where the cross came from. In the end, it's found its way into the top left-hand corner, and an arguably deserved lead for Spain.
A moment of magic has opened the scoring then in Elche, and it's Spain that have taken the lead, and it's Saul Niguez for his second goal in as many matches. A ball fired out to the right-hand side was well controlled in the end by Carvajal on that touchline, and it's headed back across goal by Saul Niguez. He's leapt higher than anybody. It seemed like he'd set off so much earlier than everybody else, but to do that he had to try and get the power on the ball. He's headed it down into the ground, which has hit the top of the net, and it's gone past Kalinic, and that is some goal to open this UEFA Nations League game. Spain 1, Croatia 0.
Thankfully he was running onto the cross from Dani Carvajal, because otherwise I don't think he could have generated the amount of power he did in the end. And he had the right idea as well. He always taught as a kid, when you are doing an attacking header, aim it towards the ground and back across where, or at least from where the cross came from. It gives the keeper very little to no chance. And there's not really much Kalinic could have done in that position, you'd fear. Now Croatia will try and get a swift response. Be Perisic. He's a little bit of a lack of communication there between him and Pivovic, and in the end Saul shepherds it out for a goal kick. I did say when the goal was scored that it was a deserved lead. Would you say it is a deserved lead?
No, not personally. Yes, they've had more of the ball, but they've not had as many chances. I think Croatia have looked the better team in front of goal, but there's no doubt about the player that's in confidence on that pitch out there this evening, and it is Saul Niguez. He's playing week in, week out for Atletico. He scored last time out, and that's not really a typical header from a midfielder, but as you say, he couldn't have been in a better position or jumped any higher to score. No wonder Croatia's defender struggled to catch up to him.
Yes, obviously Saul Niguez is not the tallest of players either. Just shows how brilliant of a header it was for him to get that opening goal of this match. Now Sergio Ramos finds the ball towards Gaia. He has support. In the end, he is dispossessed though by a plethora of Croatian players. Modric that's find its way backwards towards Brozovic. In the end, the return pass just can't find him. Spain beginning to refine their form and find their feet in this match. More and more comfortable in possession. Captain Sergio Ramos is brought forward towards Ceballos. He'll get the ball back, the Real Madrid man. There's a bit of 1-2s between each midfielder. And now Saul, goal scorer, picks the ball up. He's found Isco. Now Ceballos tried to find Nacho. In the end, it's a poor ball. Perisic wins the ball back, and he's played it backwards towards Modric. He's got the ball back now on the left-hand side. He's got support in the box in Santini. He'll aim towards the back post for Rakitic. In the end, it's floated over De Gea's bar and nowhere near Ivan Rakitic in the end. It's a sloppy cross from Perisic, and it's a good real chance there for a breakaway. Yeah, they should have done better really. If you're going to get into those positions, that's the sort of chances really you expect them to get at best when they're playing Spain away from home. But yeah, I mean, the thing about Spain is they're still trying to find their identity under Enrique, aren't they? It's going to take them time. Yes, Spain are going to play a certain style of football. They have done for many years. Enrique had that style at Barcelona, but he doesn't have the similar sort of makeup for a squad, does he? So it perhaps took them 20 minutes to get going, to actually wake up and think, right, we need to sort this out. As perhaps I think it's Modric has gone down just outside the centre circle, and that's a naughty one. Yeah, I think it might have been Ceballos who may have left his foot in there on the... No, it was Isco actually. Real Madrid on Real Madrid. Don't think there was any maliciousness or massive stud showing. Not really. He tries to pull his foot out in the end, Isco. They've both just gone towards the ball and Modric has just beaten him to it. So nothing really in that that would warrant a card. So Croatia will restart the match. And it's with Roj, who will play it back towards Mitrovic. Now the ball has found its way to Rakitic on this left-hand side. So back inwards towards Brozovic. A bit of pressure there by Rodrigo. Croatia do still have the ball though, with Roj on the right-hand side. There's a couple of 1-2s with Kovacic. The ball has found its way backwards all the way to Domagoj Vida. Now Modric they just can't find their way past this halfway line at the moment, Croatia. It's good high pressure from Spain. It's sort of been the theme of this match, the attack of both sides forcing the issue high up the pitch so the defence can't play their way out. Two very footballing nations, very similar in the way that they play. The ball has found its way across towards Ivan Rakitic. It's been another goal in the Nations League. Belgium have taken the lead at Iceland, so there's only 1 or 2 games left in the Nations League that are yet to find a goal. We'll see, we've already had one here, coming up to the half-an-hour mark. So Sergio Ramos on the left-hand side. Looking on the bench, I think a surprise. Well, I say a surprise. When Rodrigo had started, I was a little bit concerned, thinking I thought Aspas was going to get the nod. What would you say there's 3 strikers in this Spanish squad: Morata, Rodrigo and Aspas. Do you think Rodrigo at this point is the starting man from this squad?
I think he's the most flexible. That's the problem. A bit like Santini is.
Yeah.
I've seen Rodrigo play left mid, right mid, centre, attacking mid and up front. So I think that's why he's got the nod. Perhaps he's more durable. I mean, when Morata's on form, I don't think there's many better in Europe, but he hasn't really been in form, I don't think, properly since he left Juve. So that's perhaps in his mind. He offers a bit of height about the plate. There's the potential free kick on the far side. Referee actually waves it away, and it is Kovacic that in fact has managed to get away with it, fouling Gaia, or so they thought, but not given. Another goal in the game with Ireland, and that's Iceland, should I say? And we await. Eden Hazard scored. Lukaku scored 2 in 2 minutes. So it's Hazard then Lukaku, 2 in 2. Iceland look like they could be in a bit of a dangerous, precarious position after losing 6-0 in midweek. Who's your choice for striker?
Well, I mean, if Diego Costa was in this squad, it would definitely be Diego Costa.
We're talking to Diego Costa's like 10th best fan, so we can go on that all day, yeah.
But when it regards to these 3, I do agree that Morata hasn't been in form for a very long period of time.
And I think Aspas is better with a towering defence, personally.
Yes, I do see that. Obviously, Aspas is quite a diminutive figure, so physically he probably wouldn't be able to contend with the likes of Vida, who's quite a physical defender.
He can come off the bench and replace Asensio or Isco if they're having a bad night.
Yeah,
in that respect.
It's a very valid point. It's been a problem area for Spain in recent years when Diego Costa hasn't been fit and strikers haven't been in form. When Torres lost a lot of form after leaving Liverpool, and David Villa eventually retired, they didn't really have that front man. But the ball has found its way to Rodrigo here inside the Croatia box. He's swarmed out though. He's found it to Isco. In the end, Croatia have just about smothered it clear. And when Belgium are 2-0 up against Iceland, in all fairness to any Icelandic fans out there, I was a little bit surprised that they were put into the A bracket of the Nations League. Well, it was very, very, very friendly for them.
Well, there's a couple of, I guess, perhaps notable ones. Even in some of the lower leagues, you think, could they have been pushed up or would they be further down? The thing is, it probably goes on rankings at certain times, isn't it, which change all the time depending on which friendly teams you play. So in that respect, it's not a whole really consistent. So Spain come forward again into the box, a chance to get in behind, but Rakitic sweeps up and it's hooked out towards the right-hand side. But it is going to be played forward from a throw-in as Spain try to find a second.
Indeed, I mean, to give you some updates for the friendlies that are happening as well. It's not just Nations League action. Although I'll have to skip away from that, because out of absolutely nothing, Marco Asensio has fired it in to the top left-hand corner. We're about 35-40 yards out. I did not expect that shot. It flew past Kalinic. There's absolutely no chance for the Croatia keeper. It's now 2-0 to Spain, and Spain are beginning to pull away here.
Spain have got a firmer grip on this contest thanks to the left peg of Marco Asensio. A misplaced pass in midfield from Croatia teed up Asensio, who took a touch or two before opening up his body left-footed, and he drilled it past Kalinic in goal. It's Rakitic giving him too much of a sight of the target, and he's took full opportunity. Not really the start Croatia had in mind. They've missed several chances the minute they've given Spain a bit of a sniff in a game, and they've taken it with aplomb. Rodrigo is even unhappy with Asensio for not passing the ball to him. How quickly he was silenced thanks to that effort. A rocket into the top corner. It's 2-0.
Asensio there, he hit the ball with such venom. It was moving in the air. It wasn't massively far into that corner. Had enough swerve and swizzle on it that Kalinic couldn't get anywhere near it. And now Croatia, who started the game very brightly, now have a 2-goal deficit to make up. Now, just to give you a bit more information on the friendly games that are occurring. There's no goals between England and Switzerland or Poland and Ireland. However, it's the Northern Irish fans that are going to be happiest at the moment. They are 1-0 up against Israel. Stephen Davis, a bit of a blast on the blast, has got the opening goal in that match. It was the 13th minute of that game. It's been it's been a thrilling half so far. There's been a lot of errors, chances at both ends. Now Spain looking here possibly for a third with Marco Asensio on the right hand side. Pivovic can't really shape up. It's another effort. It's 3-0. It's a fantastic effort from Marco Asensio again. He got away from Pivovic. He curled the ball. It's hit the crossbar and it's come down and hit the back of Kalinic, who's so unlucky, and it's fallen into the right hand corner of the net. Spain 3, Croatia 0, and Spain are suddenly running riot now.
Well, if we thought one thunderbolt from Marco Asensio was enough, then guess again. It's a second from the midfielder, and it's an absolute peach from the right-hand side who was picked out on the wing. He's left unmarked. Pivovic had given him so much time and space. He even allowed him half a head start to cut inside on his stronger left foot. The ball has cannoned off the bar. This might actually go down as a Kalinic own goal. In fact, probably will. It's hit the keeper on the back. Asensio gets the credit, but Kalinic is the man that bundles it into the back of the net. Spain 3, Croatia 0.
Now, although it will go down as a Kalinic own goal, there can be no fault given to the Croatia keeper. There's nothing that can be done about that. It's just an error of the trade, really. He'll get those against you. But a 3-0 scoreline, I don't think anyone really could have predicted this, especially before half-time.
I wouldn't have said it before the 23rd minute. But they've scored 3 goals in 13 minutes.
Croatia looked very strong in the opening half of this first half. A few minutes of calamity for them in defence, and a bit of Asensio magic has completely turned this tie on its head.
But the other thing to say is, from Croatia's point of view, is you've just seen him, you've just given him a goal, and then a minute and a half later you stand off him and let him turn inside. I mean, he's all left foot. I don't think I've seen him score more than outside the box with his right foot in my life. And yet you give him a 10-yard head start, then a 7, then a 6, then a 5, and then you let him turn inside and shoot. I mean, talk about shooting yourself in the foot. I know that from there they probably thought he's not going to do it again, but why take the risk?
It's a very, very valid point. There's 2 defensive errors really that have cost Croatia at this point. The first Asensio goal was a misplaced pass and a bit of lack of communication between Rakitic and Vida, the man who was going to get the ball, gifting Asensio his first, and then the one he has just scored, or that is most likely going to go down as a Kalinic own goal. It was Pivovic that just stood off him for so long, really, and plenty of opportunities just to close him down. But nothing can be taken away from Asensio. It's really showing off how talented he is. He's so young as well. He's definitely a possible Ballon d'Or winner for the future. Now Croatia, I think some heads are beginning to go down from the World Cup finalists. Just getting pictures of the Croatia bench. There's a lot of sullen faces. But in the match itself, the ball has found its way towards Dani Carvajal. Get to the man of the moment, Asensio. Pivovic this time will decide and close him down, but the ball has found its way towards Carvajal. He's got support in the box. He tried to find Rodrigo. In the end, the ball is hooked up and not necessarily out by Roj. In the end, it's gone out for a throw into Spain just by the corner flag, which Carvajal takes and finds, I think it was Rodrigo, who's gone down in a heap. And there's going to be another yellow card here. I think it might be going towards Brozovic. It is Brozovic who's got the yellow card. Second yellow of the game for Croatia. It's a needless foul. It was actually on Ceballos, and he's come flying through the back of him. I'm just getting replays of Asensio's guard. Pivovic there is really poor defending. He's got 5 yards at least each time with each touch of the ball. But I don't think the midfield offer him much help either. Perisic isn't getting back in especially quickly.
No, but there's a lot. There's a lot that needs to claim responsibility. The other one that really is out, offers anyone in the right hand side of defence or midfield, or Kalinic, and possibly Santini. The game, football is obviously a crazy sport when it wants to be. The game is pretty much gone for Croatia, but one of the biggest comebacks we've seen for, I guess, against one of the top teams. I don't really see where they're going to get 2, or even 1 with the way they've played the last 10 minutes. They look like they're a team in absolute shock, and you wouldn't back against Spain getting a 4 before half-time.
They have a free kick in a very dangerous area here, which Asensio is standing over. I think he fancies himself for a hat-trick, and it will be Asensio to take. It's over the wall, but way over the bar. He's never going to trouble Kalinic in goal. But it shows he's got a lot of confidence, this young man. And Croatia have taken his goal kick quickly. I think at this point the Croats are just praying for the half-time whistle to come as soon as possible. Now Rakitic has the ball. Play it backwards towards Kalinic. Now Vida. There's no real pace with how they're attacking at the moment, Croatia. Northern Ireland have got a second goal against Israel. They're beginning to pull away there. Stuart Dallas has got the second in that match, the 41st minute. So there will be a happy bunch so far. There's another goal for Hungary as well. There's Kleinheisler who's got the second goal for Hungary against Greece. It's 2-1 there. So goals beginning to rain in this Nations League tournament. What do you feel about this Nations League tournament anyway, Tom? Do you think it's a worthy thing to be created, or do you think it's entirely unnecessary?
Well, if it makes the games a bit more competitive, I don't mind it. I'm all for maybe an extra trophy being thrown in, but then again, it just seems like a bit of a... You've just got an early qualification berth, haven't you? That you're already in, and then that's it. But then the problem is, it just depends on what the reward will be if they stick to it. Do you get to qualify early doors, or you get an earlier group, or should you be given the chance? I think people will try and interpret it differently. Some will say you should be, if you top your groups, you're automatically in, and then you get the next 7 or 8, well, 15 months off to play friendlies, but then you're not getting warmed up properly. So the approach they're trying now, it seems fair enough. It can be adapted, I guess. But because the Sub World Cup was so good, I was hoping there could be an international tournament every summer, so I'm in that camp, but I understand it's not realistic and it'd get far too expensive. But you see some friendlies they're so dull, and in the qualifying groups, like teams like Spain playing like Albania, Liechtenstein, teams that are just not Lithuania, they're just not gonna do anything against. This seems really, if you're gonna have a poor qualification period, then it might give you a harder group next time around. So in that respect, that's not too bad. A bit of a pushing and shoving, bit of fisticuffs. I think Nacho's involved, is he?
And it's Nacho and
Carvajal
Rakitic.
up there.
Yeah, I think there was a... Oh, Nacho's complaining that he's been hit in the face by Brozovic, which the referee didn't give. Actually, no, it was by Rakitic in the end that he was impeded by. I mean, he gets blocked off, and there's possible contact with the shoulder to the face, but there's no actual intent, I would say, to injure by Ivan Rakitic. And there were valid points you made, though, about this Nations League tournament. Obviously, I think a lot of people would be in the same boat as you, as wanting an international tournament each year, with how successful the World Cup was. Albeit, I do have a sneaky suspicion that your feelings about it might have changed if England had gone out in the group stage. But
definitely. World Cup sort of been rubbish. I want to watch another one again, but not a bit. I think that's the problem, though. That's the good thing. I now want to watch more international football. I think there's loads that do, and of course there'll be quite a few that over the years didn't want international breaks. It's that, oh, not again. You know, all that time without a club game if you're at a higher level than League 1 and League 2. But I think there's a real zest for international football now. If they can keep it going, then good. These Nations League games, essentially, for me, if you're watching like an England point of view, they might be humbled every game against the teams they're paired against, and then it gives the bit of realism rather than them playing a team that they're going to put six past. Well, they will eventually have to play a team like that, but you get the point.
Yeah, so very valid points as well. Coming into the 44th minute of this match, still Spain 3, Croatia 0. The chances are beginning to dry up after the 3-goal burst we have. Half-time whistles are beginning to sound around Europe, although Luxembourg have got a second goal in San Marino. Asensio just couldn't regain his footing there to win the ball off Pivaric. In the end, the ball went to Perisic, and there's a sloppy foul there by Asensio. Sort of dragged Perisic down by his neck, by the looks of things. Just getting replays now. It was a good play there by Asensio, but he stumbles and just can't regain his... I think it's quite a slippy surface, I have a feeling, in Elche. So, Perisic does sort of lean into Asensio. I think it's just quite clever play there by the Inter Milan man to win that free kick. What Croatia will give, though, for... well, it wouldn't really be a consolation goal, just any goal, really, before half-time. Got 10 seconds until the 45 minutes are up. We'll see how much injury time there is as well. It'll be Rakitic to take this free kick. He's got, I think, 6 players in the box for him. He's whipped it in, and it's very easy for David De Gea, right down the keeper's throat. And in the end, it's quite a poor delivery from Rakitic.
Well, for a keeper that at the moment is conceding quite a few goals compared to his normal antics, you would feel they'd give him a real good test by trying long-range shots or putting him under pressure with crosses close to him. But not from there. Put a crossing close to him from the byline when you've got players meeting it with momentum and they can't be offside. That's just a shocking ball from a player that's world-class at delivering crosses week in, week out. They need a break, really. Croatia to regroup. I think they're definitely going to feel sorry for themselves after the Asensio first goal, because they gave him it. They gave him the ball. Yes, he had to score himself, but when you give a player possession like that and he scores a 30-yard screamer, you're not going to feel too good about yourself. And just when you recompose and think, right, half-time 2-0, he scores again after an own goal, I mean, I can only imagine the faces as they walk in that dressing room at half-time.
Not at all. We've got 2 minutes of injury time, or added time to play of this first half, of which we've already played 1.25 minutes of it. Now Rodrigo has picked up the ball. He's found Isco. He's given it to Asensio, who's most likely the man of the half. The ball has found its way back to Isco. He's drifted away from his left-hand wing. He's playing on the same side as Asensio at this point. He's given them, and the ball has now found its way over to Sergio Ramos. 15 seconds left of this first half. Isco wins the ball and finds Rodrigo, tried to skip away from Vida. There's an opportunity, though, for one final attack, though. Is Carvajal inside the box, who's going back towards Rodrigo, and the header just drifts past the post. Well, Kalinic's right-hand post. Really should have done a lot better from that position. It was a good ball in by Dani Carvajal. In the end, he can't find the target, and that is it for this first half. Spain, incomprehensibly, are going into half-time 3 goals to the goods, and we'll see you in the next half.
Half-time then in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0, and it's some real quick-fire goals after Croatia had Sanchez through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greth opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar for Rodrigo. Could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia, 3-0. For Rodrigo. Half-time then in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0, and it's some real quick-fire goals after Croatia had Sanchez through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greth opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar for Rodrigo. Could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia, 3-0. Half-time then in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0, and it's some real quick-fire goals after Croatia had Sanchez through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greth opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar for Rodrigo. Could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia, 3-0. Half-time then in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0, and it's some real quick-fire goals after Croatia had Sanchez through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greth opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar for Rodrigo. Could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia, 3-0. Half-time then in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0, and it's some real quick-fire goals after Croatia had Sanchez through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greth opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar for Rodrigo. Could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia, 3-0. Half-time then in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0, and it's some real quick-fire goals after Croatia had Sanchez through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greth opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar for Rodrigo. Could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia, 3-0. Half-time then in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0, and it's some real quick-fire goals after Croatia had Sanchez through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greth opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar for Rodrigo. Could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia, 3-0. Half-time then in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0, and it's some real quick-fire goals after Croatia had Sanchez through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greth opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar for Rodrigo. Could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia, 3-0. Half-time then in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0, and it's some real quick-fire goals after Croatia had Sanchez through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greth opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio scored a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar. Or Rodrigo could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia, 3-0. Half-time then in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0. And it's a real quick-fire goal after Croatia had Sanchez through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greth opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar. Or Rodrigo could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia, 3-0. Half-time then in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0. And it's a real quick-fire goal after Croatia had Sanchez through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greth opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar. Or Rodrigo could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia, 3-0. Half-time then in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0. And it's a real quick-fire goal after Croatia had Sanchez through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greth opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar. Or Rodrigo could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia, 3-0. Half-time then in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0. And it's a real quick-fire goal after Croatia had Sanchez through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greth opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar. Or Rodrigo could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia, 3-0. Half-time then in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0. And it's a real quick-fire goal after Croatia had Sanchez through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greth opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar. Or Rodrigo could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia, 3-0. Half-time in Elche, Spain 3, Croatia 0. It's a real quick-fire goal after Croatia had Sanchez through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greth opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar. Or Rodrigo could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia, 3-0. Half-time in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0. And it's a real quick-fire goal after Croatia had Sanchez through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greth opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar. Or Rodrigo could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia, 3-0. Half-time then in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0. And it's a real quick-fire goal after Croatia had Sanchez through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greth opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar. Or Rodrigo could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia, 3-0. Half-time then in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0. And it's a real quick-fire goal after Croatia had Sanchez through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greth opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar. Or Rodrigo could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia, 3-0. Half-time in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0. And it's a real quick-fire goal after Croatia had Sanchez through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greth opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greta for the scorer with a bullet header in the 24th minute. The 33rd minute, Asensio's got a power driver to make sure that it was 2. He's got another one. Also, he thought 3 minutes later that it should be a Calvin Johnson. His shot hit the crossbar for a Rodrigo for a minute 4 on the stroke of Croatia 3-0. Half-time in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0, and it's a real quick-fire goal after Croatia had touches through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greta for the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar. For Rodrigo could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia 3-0. Half-time in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0, and it's a real quick-fire goal after Croatia had touches through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greta for the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar. For Rodrigo could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia 3-0. Half-time in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0, and it's a real quick-fire goal after Croatia had touches through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greta opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar. For Rodrigo could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia 3-0. Half-time in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0. It's a real quick-fire goal after Croatia had touches through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greta opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar. For Rodrigo could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia 3-0. Half-time in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0, and it's a real quick-fire goal after Croatia had touches through Rakitic, Santini and Perisic. They were pegged back. Soundly Greta opened the scoring with a bullet header in the 24th minute. In the 33rd minute, Asensio's got a pile driver to make sure that it was 2. He scored another one, or so he thought, 3 minutes later, but it should be a Kalinic own goal after his shot hit the crossbar. For Rodrigo could have made it 4 on the stroke of half-time as he headed wide. Vasalko's been replaced by Rog with an injury. It's all bad news for Croatia 3-0. Half-time in Elche, and it's Spain 3, Croatia 0, and it's a real quick-fire goal after Croatia had touches through Rakitic. A warm welcome back then to our coverage of this game. It is Spain versus Croatia in the UEFA Nations League. If you are just tuning in, Spain have a 3-goal cushion at the start of this second half, thanks to goals from really nowhere at first. Sam Ligueth, then Marco Asensio, then an own goal. Asensio shot hitting Kalinic. Self Tom Hill and Will Maxwell covering the game for you. And after 10 minutes, Will, we pretty much thought Croatia could have been 2, if not 3 up. Then Spain started to dig in a little bit, dig their heels and push. And before we know it, it's pretty much game over for what we're thinking.
Yeah, it just shows how amazing football can be. You can expect, one team to sort of run away with it if they start off very, very well, but then something just suddenly switch in the match, or something can suddenly snap, and a game can just turn on its head, and that's what we've seen so far. Spain having a rather incomprehensible 3-goal cushion.
Yeah, Sergio Ramos in midfield now. Goes for a crossfield pass, an absolute corker for Dani Carvajal. It's inch perfect. Carvajal tries to beat Pavaric. Pavaric does enough to get across and stop him. Still not gone out of play though. Pavaric does well to knock it down the line. That's only as far forward as Sam Ligueth and co. And Spain are going to throw in, because that header's hit a Croatia player, and there's a couple of Spain players warming up. Here is Ramos now, out towards Jose Gay. Gay's going to go towards Ceballos, in fact. Here is Isco. He was pretty quiet in that first half compared to some of his teammates, mainly because Asensio took all the limelight off him. Whatever he'd done was soon forgotten about after those 2 pile drivers. He's now back to Carvajal on the right hand side. He lofts it down the line, looking for a teammating Ceballos. Carvajal then gets on the end of that cross to try and help out as well. Pivaric turns it behind. There's 3 Croatian players at least warming up as well. Perhaps a change before the hour mark for Croatia.
Yes, I mean, looking at their bench and how some players have performed, I mean, they've already had to, been forced into one already, with Roj replacing the injured Versalico after 10 minutes gone. And sort of after that substitution, that the game sort of switched on its head, can only really see the likes of Bedelj and Piaka really changing the tone of this game if Croatia are going to get anything out of this.
Yeah, ball forward then. It's played into the path of Isco, tries to dribble his way past 2. Stopped in his tracks. Rodrigo's now going to put pressure on Kalinic, whose touch actually took him towards his own goal. Like a heart in mouth moment for any fans behind the uprights there. And it's now back with Carvajal on halfway. Kalinic will tell us all it was part of the plan to go back towards his own goal, but I'm sure many would call his bluff. Here's Ramos in midfield. And it's now going to be played forward then. He's going to go out towards this right hand side. He's going to try and build an attack. Here's Ramos. So it's not the best pass, it's gone back towards goal, and it's only as far as David De Gea. Luxembourg got the 3rd, by the way, in their game against San Marino, which is good news for their travelling fans. Ball in behind here. Rodrigo's beat the offside trap, 1-on-1 with the keeper. Can he finish right footed strike into the back of the net? He can, and it's 4. That's a fine strike from Rodrigo.
It really is. It's a cutting pass there to find Rodrigo, and the moment he gets in behind the Croatian defence, you could already expect or predict the outcome, because Rodrigo is possessed with such fantastic space and finishing ability. It's his 2nd goal in 2 matches, and I expected Croatia to come out and really try and go for a draw or win. He's definitely onside. I think it's Roj or Pivaric it is on the right that plays him on. In the end, it's a fantastic finish, although Kalinic arguably could have done a bit better, but 4-0. This game should be dead and buried.
Cracking start to the second half for Spain to add to their 3 goals in the first half, and it's Rodrigo that's got a 4 for the Spanish Giants. Luis Enrique's men in dreamland now. Ball played forward. Rodrigo beat the offside trap after a sloppy bit of defending. Kalinic left 1-on-1 and left helpless, and Croatia have been pegged back again. Any hopes of them pulling off a miraculous comeback now seem pretty much dead in the water. They trail by 4.
Yes, now Spain have regained the ball after, looks like it was Modric. It was trying to force an issue. This game is slipping away from the World Cup finalists, and what was a fantastic summer is turning into an awful winter for them. Now is Brozovic, who plays the ball backwards towards Mitrovic. To Vida, who looks a little bit lost without his centre-back counterpart Dejan Lovren, who's massively important in that World Cup tournament. Mitrovic does win the ball back though. And the ball has found its way on the left-hand side, back towards Mitrovic. But I think Spain now just look very comfortable in defence. Has got less of high pressure than what was in the first half. You have a feeling that they might just sit back and just let the game play out now.
Yeah, it could be a bit boring on that aspect. Yes, I know we've just seen a fourth goal in the 48th minute, but I mean, they might go for it. They'll probably feel that they've got enough in the bag to have a risk or two. But like you say, they'll probably just ease down. Maybe some of the better players at club level will be taken off for rests. Experiment. You're not going to get many chances of experimenting against a team as good as Croatia are when you're 4-0 up. So that could be a point for Luis Enrique as Gaia swings in across towards the near post. Oh, it's missed. Offside up anyway. Side flag gone up anyway against Rodrigo. But that was a real nervous moment for Croatia again.
Indeed it was. It's been a goal between Poland and Ireland. Ireland have taken the lead in Eastern Europe. It's O'Brien who is given Ireland that 1-goal lead in the 53rd minute. Big goal there for the Irish. Now Croatia regained possession from the offside decision.
Certainly have got a free kick now.
I wasn't entirely sure who it was that did that foul. It was sort of three players bundled into each other.
Yeah, Modric gives it away though, pretty much straight away. Not like him to be so wasteful in possession, but he's not had a good night tonight, Modric. And Will did say at the start of this commentary that perhaps they'll be suffering a hangover. It could take them even a tournament to get over it, but this is still a generation that they feel is good enough to win an event like a World Cup, so they better put their ideas up pretty sharpish after successive of course tournaments. They'll be looking to get to European Championships. This will be a defeat after that draw with Portugal. Ball over the top, of course. Easy to forget how good Spain can be on their day. It's not an embarrassment to lose to Spain. It would be an embarrassment to make it any worse than 4. That's for sure. As we're into the 53rd minute, as Spain go long over the top, Rodrigo the target. It's over the head of him, but perhaps showing what we discussed in the first half, Rodrigo, that durability he brings, that he was able to be played in straight through the middle.
Yes, well, it's any team really would be lucky to have a player such as Rodrigo, just so flexible in where he can play in that attacking lineup, can play on the wing, can play just behind a striker, always that solo front man. He possessed such great speed and agility. Yeah, on the replay, it does look like Kalinic probably should do a bit better. It's sort of right at him. I think Rodrigo's trying to get it through the legs. In the end, it's cannoned off. Kalinic's right leg gone into the floor and just scuffled into the back of the net. And so I would say more. I think that's probably the first goal in this match that Kalinic really couldn't have done much about.
Yeah, he was pretty much stranded, but it's the defensive work again, isn't it? As Sandegreff goes across midfield out towards Isco. Isco down the line, good chance to get it in behind here to Gaia, who swings in across low and hard to the far post. Oh, there's a couple of players battling for it. Corner given. Rodrigo saying he was fouled by Pivarik at the far post. And Pivarik's having a tough night out there. And in his 13th cap, this for Kalinic in goal. He was nervous here. What a cracking ball that is in from Jose Gaia.
It's absolutely brilliant from Gaia, Valencia left back. It's such an inviting ball that any striker would love to be on the end of. Rodrigo just can't get in front of his man, and from this corner kick, I think Spain could have a good opportunity. Yeah,
down the far side, then it's going to be swung in towards the near post. All the keepers pound it away. Kalinic wasn't expecting that, and it's come at him late, but he's done enough to flick it out towards the far side, and they've got a throw in here in Spain.
Yeah, so it was a hard ball to collect for Kalinic because he doesn't expect it to go to him. I think it's Sergio Ramos who jumped just in front of his eye line. He's expecting a touch, so in the end I think he's done the right decision just to scoop the ball away from danger and away from the attack, so they can have a bit more of a respite. Croatia look still very, very sloppy, and they look susceptible to conceding another 1 or 2 in this half.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if that was the case. As here we see the ball played out on that right hand side. think they want to, but they're not going to get it for the time being. He's Carvajal. He's get it eventually, but it's a little bit more delayed than he wanted. Back with Busquets and Ceballos. Here is Ramos. Ramos goes forward into the feet of Navasco. It's a good chance for him. Goes for the kill ball to Rodrigo, who might strike it left-footed and does. I think if Isco delays the pass, there was someone on the right-hand side who was in acre of the space.
Yeah, they're getting more and more attacks now, Spain. They're finding a load more spaces as well. I'd be very worried if I was a Croatia fan or just a Croatia player at this point, because I think they've lost their heads. All organisation has gone out the window, and it's so unlike the Croatia team that we saw in the World Cup. It's quite baffling, really.
Yeah, it's isn't what we're used to, is it? As we see the ball swung in then to the near post, headed towards goal. Ramos into the back of the net. It's 5. It's abysmal marking, and Spain are in dreamland again. This could get even worse. There's still over half an hour to go.
It's so easy for Spain there. The ball comes in. Ramos, I don't think, even has a run at the ball. He's standing basically just behind the penalty spot in acres of space, and he managed to use his neck muscles, head the ball down, and in the end it's still quite close to Kalinic as well. Possibly should have been saved, but it's gone past him. It's ended up in the back of the net. It's now Spain 5, Croatia 0.
Some more atrocious defending from Croatia has given Spain yet another goal. Sergio Ramos left unmarked in the box. Of all the people to leave with freedom for a header, it's not the Real Madrid man, but that's exactly what Croatia did. They left him with a chance to have a free shot, and he's headed into the back of the net past Kalinic. He celebrates by pointing to his name on his shirt, and Spain are now 5-0 up. Croatia have it all to do.
Ramos, as defenders go, he is one of the more clinical in front of goal. He scored many important goals for Spain and Real Madrid with his head. I'm not sure if this one will regard as important for him, but it's another one for his tally nevertheless. A 5-0 lead for Spain in what looked like before this game kicked off was going to be a clash of two heavyweights of international football that could have gone either way. Could have been really close, maybe one goal in it. This has definitely not gone by the books at all, but Croatia have a chance for possibly a consolation. It was Perisic on the left-hand side who tried to whip the ball in. Actually, no, it was Pivic in the end. It was well blocked by Carvajal. In fact, I think it might have actually gone out for a corner kick, not for a goal kick actually. The linesman has flagged for offside, so it'll go as a free kick to Spain. There's going to be the first Spanish substitution. It's going to be Sergio Busquets that comes off. It's going to be Rodrigo Hernandez Cascante that's coming on. So a bit of a tongue twister for us. I think we'll just stick with Rodri as he is known. So it's Busquets off, Rodri on. I think that's quite a wise substitution as well, because for me, Busquets has been one of the weak links for Spain.
Would you say that?
Well, with Croatia attack-wise, probably the biggest Croatia attack came from a Busquets error.
Yeah, I suppose.
And he hasn't, well, when it comes to defence, he hasn't done that much in the way of defence, and going forward, he hasn't really contributed that much.
I think for a holding midfielder, if you don't mention him too much, it means he's done his job. We did have to mention him negatively, so I guess it's not been his best night. But I think he's one of the senior players that they know they can bring off, and he's more than happy to go again another day. He's not got a point to prove. He's started that many games over the years. He's got so many caps. A bit like Ramos, but you don't really change a back four in games. It's not something you naturally do as Spain come forward. I'd be tempted to leave Rodrigo on, to be honest. I think he's looking like he's really enjoying himself out there as Spain come again. Here is Saniguez. He's another one that could come off, done his job. They've got replacements. Perhaps Morata comes on for a bit of a spell, Aspas. So there is changes there. 65-35 to Spain in terms of possession. 1-2 with Ramos and Ceballos. And it's a bit of a train exercise now. This is walking pace.
It really is. The tempo has definitely gone in this match. Spain just so comfortable at the moment. Croatia not pressing at nearly as high as they were in the first half, where they were creating those opportunities to score. Those early misses from Rakitic and Santini now look even more costly.
Certainly do. There's Ramos out to the left here for Ceballos. He's going to come forward, and he gets a nice couple of passes interchanged And Gaia was in one of them, and now Spain have come to the middle. Chance for San Miguel to play in Rodrigo, who's not going to get there. Good tackle from Vida. Kalinic manages to just kick it behind for a corner. Can't keep it in, but yeah, good ball through. Better defending from Vida this time.
Yeah, it was good defending from Vida. The moment the pass was played behind the midfield of Croatia and in front of the defence, there was so much space for Spain to move into. So I think it was a 4-on-3 in that situation. So Croatia, I think, can find themselves a bit lucky that there wasn't a really good opportunity there for Spain.
Yeah, header comes in, cross from Asensio, near post, headed away by Perisic, who I don't think we've mentioned since he's had a chance in the first half.
No,
the game's past him. Modric has been awful. Kovacic likewise. Rakitic has been okay, but the midfield has totally let them down. Yeah,
I mean, on paper, it's one of the best international midfields I think you would find out there, and the way they've performed has been well, for lack of a better word, abysmal.
Yeah, ball comes in low and hard this time by Asensio. I think Thiago Alcantara is warmed up, and just seeing a clip of him getting his shirt ready.
Who do you think he'll come on for?
Niguez personally, but we'll wait to see. Piaka's going to come on. Is that for Brozovic, who's on a yellow card?
It's a bit more attacking there for Croatia, because Brozovic is more of a central midfielder slash holding role, with Piaka far more favouring going forward and stretching the defences on the wings. So it's a sign of intent, at least, for Croatia. Whether or not that's going to do much for them is an entirely different kettle of fish entirely.
Yeah, I mean, they've just got to try and show a bit of respect here, haven't they, to themselves and their fans. Getting a thumping is not really ever acceptable unless you're one of the minnows and you play one of the big boys. But when you've just got to a World Cup final and within 2 months you're getting beat 5-0, albeit against one of the best teams in Europe, but I don't think anyone expected this sort of scoreline. I didn't think Spain would win, but I didn't think they'd cruise to it like this, especially after the first 10 minutes where Croatia had 3 chances. Here's Ramos in possession. He's played forward, fired backwards now into Isco. He's going to drill it out to the far touchline. He's left it a bit short for Carvajal. Spain try to put the pressure on. They've won a throw-in. It's a good thing from Spain. They've really put up some high pressing. That's caused a few problems really since the second half started.
Indeed, yes. And, there's been a third goal in Northern Ireland against Israel. They're now 3-0 up, the Northern Irish, having the time of their lives. Gavin White has got the goal. Came on for Will Grigg in the 65th minute, scored in the 67th. So it's what you call a super sub there. Really beginning to run away with that game now.
Yes, likewise with Spain, as here is Ceballos inside to Gaia, who works a 1-2. Rodri into midfield again. That's with Ceballos once more, and he goes across to Ramos, who does go across field. He tries to float it out to Carvajal, who's chasing, desperate to get there, and does. Little Cruyff turn helps him out. Tries to play it through the gap for a teammate, goes for a second bite at it. Pivorik wins the ball back. Here is Rakitic, who goes for the real killer ball over the top. There's no one going to get to that unless he's seen someone in the crowd with a Croatia shirt. I don't really know what he's doing.
No, it just showed the difference in performances today, because Rakitic was very, very poor pass there. We're just getting confirmation of the substitution now. So you were right, Thiago is coming on for Sal Niguez for the second substitution for Spain. But as I was just saying, because the ball beforehand from Sergio Ramos to Carvajal was exquisite. A brilliant vision from the man, and Carvajal did well to keep it in play. Then Rakitic tries to do something similar and just blasts it out of play for a throw-in. There's also a goal for England against Switzerland. They've finally broken the deadlock in that match. It's Marcus Rashford that's got the opener for the English there.
It'll do England well if they can get that win after ending that losing run. It's never good. Switzerland are no mugs either. They're certainly trying to play, I think, better teams of late, and it will stand them in good stead. Thiago, one of the better prospects from Barcelona in recent years, under the likes of Guardiola and Enrique, the academy level, and of course now at Bayern, and a player that has developed even more. But I think they probably thought he'd be a bit of a world superstar. It's not maybe reached the heights of that, but certainly still a quality operator in the middle of midfield that gets a number of assists and gets himself up and down the park. Here's Isco, a player that since leaving Malaga has only got better really, into Jose Gaia. nearly halfway through the second half, where Will take us through 2 full time. But until then, Spain enjoying possession. We've got it on the right hand side. It's going to be played forward. Good turn needed. They're not able to do so now. That's back from Rodrigo. Fired over to the left hand side. Gaia calls for it. It's a heavy touch. He gets confused by Ceballos. Not the best back pass. Kalinic has to go retrieve it, and it remains 5-0.
Yeah, it looked like poor communication there between Kalinic and the defence of Croatia. I'm not sure if it's I think it's Vida who's the culprit there, if he's trying to shepherd the ball back to Kalinic, or if it is just a very under-hit back pass. Either way, it's just so sloppy from Croatia. There's been very little bright sparks or positive things I can really mention about their performance, especially in the second half.
Yeah, ball out towards the right hand side then. They're going to try and get it forward. Is it cleared away? It is, and it's out on that touchline. It's Thiago for a throw-in. As Enrique pointing out to his staff where he can see improvements, which I'm sure he'll be able to find in a heartbeat. He's a perfectionist. As here is Ramos at the heart of defence, back out towards Ceballos, works a 1-2, or at least he wanted one with Isco, but he's been beaten to it. There's Modric, that's better, into Santini, whose touch is heavy. I don't think Modric's pass was that bad. I think Santini should have done a little bit better.
Yeah, it was a good idea from Modric. It is right at Santini, maybe just slightly too far ahead of him. But if he gets a good touch, Santini, he's got support in Perisic on the left-hand side, who is in acres of space. Unfortunately, in the end, it's quite good defending by Nacho, who comes across quickly to cut out the attack. Spain have definitely woken up defensively since their opening shoddiness, and it's just now very hard for Croatia to get a consolation at this point.
Yeah, Kovacic flies in on Thiago to try and win a throw-in, but it only actually hits him on the side of the leg and gives Spain the throw-in. Back to Gaia. 7.5 minutes in with Ramos now. He goes across field, out towards Nacho. He's got plenty of time to look up and pick an option. Cushion back now. Bit of a heavy touch there from Rodri. In fact, that's actually Nacho possessing towards Santini, who's gone for an ambitious chip straight into the hands of David De Gea, who rolls it out. But with Santini looking upwards, he had Ramos and Nacho in front of him. Perhaps a solo run would have come to nothing.
Yeah, I mean, Santini, as a striker, he doesn't have the best of pace. So running at 2 world-class defenders such as Nacho and Ramos, I don't think he would have been the man people would bet on to be victorious in that. So I don't think he would have really got the best of opportunities running straight at them. But even so, the effort that he does try to do against a keeper such as De Gea, trying to chip him from about 35 yards out, not a clever decision whatsoever.
Ball in behind, it's going to go out of play for offside. In fact, it's a free kick offside, but that's Perisic who wanted it a bit quicker, and Spain still 5-0 up. But that has reached us to the halfway point of this second half, and now to take us through to full time, it will be Will Maxwell.
Thank you very much. It was Perisic. It was inches really as it comes to offsides. Not really a lot in it. Now Ramos has walked his way forward, gives it to Isco on the left-hand side. And the ball is found Ramos again with help from Gaia. Ramos trying to do another cutting long ball. In the end, it is headed away by Pivaric. Ball finds its way back towards Nacho. Now on the right-hand side we have Asensio, who's got space to run into. No one really closing him down again. He's taking on Pivaric. He'll work his way into the Croatia box. He's found Isco's another chance here for Spain, and that is the 6th goal. Isco, fantastic finish. Managed to turn away from Domagoj Vida, and he lashed it past Kalinic into the top right-hand corner. Croatia at this point just have no answer to Spain. And could there be more in this game? Well, I think you would expect it at this point. Spain 6, Croatia 0.
Fabulous stuff from Spain. They've got a 3rd goal in this second half, and Isco's got his first in this international break with a real thumping effort into the top corner. Asensio brought down the right-hand side, and Isco shouted for it, called for it, took a touch, took it away from his marker and fired it into the top corner. It's sensational stuff from Isco. His touch is everything, and it's given Kalinic no chance in goal. A real world-class strike from a player at the top of his game, and Spain lead by 6.
just avoiding the fingertips of Kalinic there, Isco. He gets so much power behind it from not really much purchase. And now there is going to be another substitution for Croatia, the final one in fact. Levaya is coming on for Santini. And well, Santini, who has not had the best of games, he's missed a sitter, he's already on a yellow card as well. It's a chance for Levaya to show what he is made of, obviously with the absence of Mario Mandzukic. But Spain 6, Croatia 0. I mean, if Croatia play like this, I think England could feel like they can definitely get something against them, possibly to get some revenge after losing the match that we try not to think about. Now Perisic, yes, tries to whip the ball in.
What you do?
It's gone over. I think it's Piaka on the back post. There's a very good opportunity there for Croatia. It's a really good ball in. I think Ramos just about gets a flick onto it. It's going to a replay now with Isco's goal. It's a fantastic bit of play between Thiago and Asensio down the right hand side. But coming up to the 75th minute mark, who's your man of the match thus far?
I'd have to say it's Asensio, really, just because again he's played a part in that goal. Others you could include, I think Carvajal's been good, Ramos has been good, but it's got to be further forward, hasn't it? Rodrigo, Asensio, Isco have been the main three up there. But for his goal, Isco being a bit quiet, so that's why Asensio gets it.
So I have a feeling that you might be right come the 90th minute. Now Spain look like they'll try and start another attack, although Ceballos does go backwards towards Sergio Ramos. Now the ball finds its way for a rare touch for David De Gea in this half. Now Sergio Ramos will come forward. Croatia players are just so static at the moment. They've lost all hope and lost their heads entirely. They really need to be careful that the score doesn't get any worse for them. Oh, there's now a chance for Asensio to make waves down that right-hand side. He's done well against Pivric so far this match. He's found Ceballos, and he's now giving it to Gaia. Is it backwards towards Ceballos again? Now Ramos will pick it up. He'll give it to Thiago. Asensio on the right-hand side. Left to right. The ball has found its way towards Gaia. Now Rodri, who gives it back from Ceballos. So the game beginning to peter out now into the 73rd minute. Ball now with Carvajal on the right-hand side. Ramos. Can't remember the last touch Croatia have had inside the Spanish half at this point. Ceballos has tried to find Gaia, who is on the run. And the clearance in the end from Piaka cannons off the Spanish man and goes out for a goal kick. So, can you see Croatia at this point getting consolation?
No, not. I think they're just absolutely shot to pieces. I think they're really struggling to have any real confidence about their play. Well, I think that's a player that deserves a round of applause. Is Carvajal. I think he's been sensational getting forward, and it's much better from those. Really, he offers a lot more go forth than Azpilicueta does.
Azpilicueta has just come onto the pitch for Dani Carvajal, so he will slot in the right back position. Position he is more than capable of playing. Just Kalinic there, try to find Roj on the right hand side, but he's completely overcooked it. Goes out for a throw into Spain, so they can start off another attack. What must Modric be feeling as an international captain, getting humbled in this manner? It's hard to be a leader. Modric finds Mitrovic. He's done well to create a bit of space, and he's given it back to Modric, and Modric gets fouled in the end by Ceballos, and it'll be a free kick for Croatia. Still very much deep inside their own half, still in line with their own penalty box at that matter. Modric goes across towards Pivaric. He'll give it back to Vida. Now Mitrovic looks for support, finds it in Piaco on the right-hand side. First time they've been in the Spanish half now for about 4 or 5 minutes. And it's Roj who has been dispossessed by Ceballos. And in fact, it's going to go out for a Spanish throw-in. Now just getting pictures of what is a very forlorn-looking Zlatko Dalic. Doesn't really know what else he can do to get at least one consolation goal, just to give the travelling fans something to cheer about. Ramos goes long towards Gaia, who's done a fantastic ball in. It was a scissor cross, and it just couldn't find Rodrigo. Thiago just couldn't control it. And now Azpilicueta regains possession, finds Asensio, who's definitely got support in the likes of Rodrigo, who gets away from his man, turns and manages to get a shot away, and then it flies over Kalnic's bar, and it could have been a 7th there for Spain.
It could. Again, I mean, you mentioned about getting a consolation goal. I think for Dalic it would be the other way for me, just to stop conceding and make the... Yes, fair enough, you can make it 6-1, it's a bit more desirable, but I think first and foremost they've just got to stop making errors at the back, which is so far looking pretty tough to do.
Yes, I mean, the errors at the back have been very, very costly for the side today. The majority of the goals coming from sloppy defending. There's a goal between Bosnia and Herzegovina against Austria. It's Edin Dzeko, and it's given the Bosnians the lead in that one. So only one game now in the Nations League that is without a goal, and that's Moldova versus Belarus. Spain still on the attack here though, with Marco Asensio. He's got support of about 3 men in the box. In the end, he'll go backwards towards Ramos, who tried to find Gaia with a header, and he knocks it out of play for a throw into Croatia. Just getting a replay of the chance earlier on. Asensio took on Vida. He spread the ball across in the end. It was well dealt with by Mitrovic. Who do you think have been the good performance for Croatia today? Because there hasn't been many. The silence, I think, speaks for itself.
Yeah, I'm really struggling, to be honest. I want to say Vida's not really done too much wrong, but he's in a defence that's conceded 6, but so he can't be it. Perisic has been quiet. Kovacic, we've had to mention. Modric is even worse. Rakitic. There you go. That's the only one.
I'd probably agree that Rakitic has probably had the only performance that hasn't been completely awful for Croatia. Definitely subpar by his standards. That's definitely by no means the worst performer. Modric now skips away from Ramos and Ceballos, and could have been a chance now for Croatia. Kovacic trying to get away from Gaia, but he does foul his man in the attempt to get forward, and it was a good opportunity for a consolation there. It was good defending by Gaia, using his pace to get in front of Kovacic. It's definitely a foul as well. It was all over him.
The minute you put your arm across, once he's gone across, the minute you put your arm up, you're asking for so much trouble. And he just gives a free kick away, and he knows it straight away. But Gaia's already, as you said, Gaia's pace gets him out of trouble.
A lot of frustration now from Croatia into the 79th minute of this match. So just 10 or so minutes left before we get injury time, and that means 10 or so minutes for Croatia to hold on to what little dignity and pride they have left. Ball over the top, aiming for Azpilicueta, who was close to keeping the ball in play, and I think he has won a corner kick there off of Pivaric. It was a very, very good play there by Azpilicueta. Not entirely sure if it was actually a foul or not, but a corner kick has been given. There's also been a third goal for Belgium against Iceland, and it's Lukaku that's got his second of the game. Really running away from Iceland there. It's a very big mismatch, really. And there's a chance now for Thiago to whip the ball in for Spain. It's a good ball in as well. It was pinballing all over the place, and Rodri hooks the ball over a bar, and will go out for a goal kick for Croatia.
Yeah, it never sat down for him, did it, the midfielder? he would have wanted it in the air, considering his superior height compared to others. But once it was a bit of a free fall, bit of pinball in the box, you always favoured Croatia to win that battle.
Indeed, although Croatia don't have a lot of players that possess a great deal of height on the pitch at this point. Although Kalinic will now take this goal kick along towards Perisic, who can't get on the end of it. In the end, it's Azpilicueta who will knock the ball backwards towards De Gea. Finally, a bit of high pressure from Croatia is what got them the chances in the first half at least. And Ramos in the end is the man who is dispossessed. He's gone down holding his face. I think there's a little bit of a collision between him and Levaya, or possibly Modric. A lot of players are standing around him. I mean, it was put into trouble by Modric initially. It was a heavy touch, and he clashes with Perisic. There's nothing wrong there by Perisic. It's unfortunate. It's just the momentum really of Ramos clashes him into Perisic, really.
Yeah, Perisic gets away with it. I think he turns his face in time, whereas Ramos doesn't. So he's hurt the teeth area a little bit, and on the bottom of the nose. And yeah, it's going to be a painful one. But yeah, no real blame for someone trying to injure each other. None of that. It's just a heavy touch. Although
interestingly, it has been given as a free kick, which I don't entirely agree with. I think it really should have gone down as a throw into Spain, because the ball did cannon off of Perisic in that tackle. And Ramos has the ball and he'll go long, aiming towards Rodrigo. And his header goes out of play for a throw into Croatia, who've begun to liven up in the past few minutes or so. Perisic goes long towards Kovacic, who just can't get his foot onto it. And now Isco can regain possession. It's Rodri now. He has plenty of support, and one of them is Gaia. Gives it to Asensio, who passes it and turns away for a run. In the end, Cabals decides against giving him the second ball back and give it to Gaia. The ball has now found its way to Nacho. Game still slowing down. The ball has now found its way towards Azpilicueta on the right-hand side. It's the final third now. His pass is cut out by Perisic and it cannons off Azpilicueta, out for a Croatia throw. It will be Pivaric to take. How much do you think the injury to Vasilico has changed this match, if at all?
Well, they're stronger defensively, aren't they, with him? But not many of the goals have come down his side. So, in that respect, you look at the goals. Niguez with the header was the wrong side. Asensio was his side, but would it have been him that gave it away? We're not sure. The other side for Asensio is the opposite touchline. Rodrigo's one-on-one is through the middle. Ramos's free header is nothing to do with him, and Isco's in the middle of the box. So only one goal really would have come down his flank. So in that respect, while he is good, they should have done better anyway to regroup.
There's another chance here for Spain. It's Rodrigo, whose effort has taken a big deflection, left Kalinic completely standing, and it's gone past his far post. Will go out for a corner kick. It's another great opportunity, and just get a replay there. The speed in which Rodrigo changes pace to get away from Vida is frightening, really, and his effort, it's not far at all from that far post.
No, it's certainly not. I thought it had crept in, to be honest, watching it live. 6 minutes to go, 7-0, and it just gets worse and worse. But just shows you that they've never taken their foot off the gas. They still want to score the goals, and fair play to them.
Yeah, they've been ruthless thus far, the Spanish. Now Thiago's found Ramos. Nothing really came of that corner, just so you know. Ceballos has plenty of support, gives it back towards Gaia, although no one massively in the box for Spain. Asensio gives it back to Gaia in this final third. It's a good 1-2 though between Asensio and Gaia. He'll look for support. He's found it in Rodrigo and he just can't find Gaia, and fell back to Rodrigo whilst he was on the floor, and he couldn't hook the ball back towards goal, and it'll go out for a goal kick for Croatia.
Yeah, it's in a replay here of his shot that was deflected wide. He's looked sharp on that, hasn't he? He's reading that little flick. It's so close from finding it. But yeah, I've been massively impressed by Rodrigo. I think he's starting to come into his own a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely has not hurt his bid to be Spain's usual starting number one. Poland have equalised against the Republic of Ireland in the 87th minute of that friendly game. It's Klich who has got the goal. Mateusz Klich, who obviously plays for Leeds in the Championship. So that game looks like it may end up in a draw. Although I think it's fairly safe to say that the chances of this game ending up in a draw very, very slim, coming into the final 4 minutes of this match now. Spain 6, Croatia 0. Rodri is giving the ball to Nacho. Now Azpilicueta finds Thiago. Back to Azpilicueta, has support in Rodrigo in the box. He's playing it backwards towards Isco. It's a save by Kalinic, and Vida scrambles the ball out of play for a corner kick. Kalinic could possibly have held on to it. It's another good opportunity for Spain, and I think arguably Isco could feel that he should have done better.
Yeah, he should score. He should definitely score. It's a lovely cutback. Perhaps goes with the wrong foot. He doesn't need to go with the left, and maybe that would have made it 7.
Yeah, Rodri plays the ball towards Ramos. They're not really crossing the ball in anymore. They're just taking their time, realising they're getting far more joy in open play. The ball whipped in again. It's found Asensio in the back post. They're so slow to come out to it at the moment, Croatia. Asensio's cross is caught fairly comfortably by Kalinic. Final whistle has gone between Northern Ireland and Israel. It's finished 3-0 to the Northern Irish there. It's the first of the internationals on the moment that have had the final whistle blown. Give you the context to how soon we are getting to this final whistle here. Now, to get a bit of context of how frustrated Modric has been. Modric is currently stood in a centre-back position just to get the ball and try and change the game a bit. It's nowhere near the attacking midfield role that he is far more effective in. He's just desperate to get his feet on the ball. It's Roj now on the right-hand side. Spain perfectly content with allowing Croatia just to pass it in between themselves. Roj gets away from Gaia. In the end, his pass can't beat the defence of Nacho, although a foul has been given. It was Isco accidentally leaving a foot in on Roj. The free kick is taken quickly. It's found Perisic. Just give it to Modric. It's forced backwards. Now Vida gives it to Kovacic. He's now find Roj. He does have support, although he is fairly easily dispossessed there by Ceballos. The ball is found Rodri, and now Spain can break away. Nacho turns back on himself. Finds Thiago. Another final whistle has gone. There is going to be an international game that doesn't have a goal in it. Moldova drew 0-0 with Belarus, and Luxembourg have beaten San Marino by 3-0 as well. So all the games in the D division have all had their final whistles blown. There's Rodri, who has the ball here though in Elche. He does a 1-2 with Sergio Ramos. He'll play it to the left-hand side for Ceballos. He'll play it backwards towards Gaia. Now Ramos has found Nacho. He's moved forward into the final third. He's given it to Azpilicueta. Rodrigo still running around the box trying to create some space. The ball's not given to him though. Instead it will be Thiago. There's another final whistle goes. Hungary have beaten Greece by 2-1 in their group. Obviously that's a massive win for Hungary, which leaves them third in their group, behind Finland and Greece, but ahead of Estonia. So there's still opportunities for them to possibly get promoted out of their group. Ball here though is found Isco, the ball, and it's Vida that cuts it out. It's a good effort on the rebound though, which Kalinic does well to save, and the rebound, I think, cannons off of Ceballos from close range, and he just can't direct it past Kalinic's near post. But almost a 7th there for Spain.
Yeah, Rodrigo's one that's hit it back across goal for Ceballos, but fine strike from the edge of the area. Good save from Kalinic, who again hasn't done too much wrong, has he? Thiago, the one that scores, or tried to score, but it's not as if Kalinic has been at fault for many of them. Perhaps could have done better with one, but yeah, not Ceballos' night. Could have gone in, but just couldn't find the bottom corner.
Yeah, Thiago, hard and true. Good contact. It might have just been rising over Kanic's bar, but he was not to know. We've now played the full 90 minutes here. There's going to be 3 minutes of added time, of which we have paid 40 seconds of it. So, troubles and tribulations Croatia have faced in this match are nearly over. So now the ball is with Asensio on the left-hand side, the man who I think me and Tom both feel will be the man of the match here. Had a fantastic performance today. Finland have beaten Estonia as well in that same group, so Finland will remain top of their group. So now all the games in League C have been completed. Now the ball is with Ceballos. I think Ceballos has always had quite a decent game as well. He's had a bad showing.
No, he's put himself about, being in midfield, bossing the passing and putting some good tackles in, then getting further forward. Certainly does more getting forward than Busquets did, but yeah, I think he's still a work in progress, but obviously got bags of ability and potential.
Yes, indeed. Aspergras on the right-hand side was a bit of a poor bit of control. So in the end, Pivaric picks it up and Aspergras gives away a foul. A little bit cheap, a little bit soft. I think it's more just to spare Croatia's blushes. Got 1 minute left of added time. It's most likely going to be Spain 6, Croatia 0 as the final score, although there is still opportunities for goals to come in at either end. And Belgium have beaten Iceland by 3 goals to 0 in their group in League A, which has left them in very, very good stead, just on level points with Switzerland. Obviously they've both only played once, Iceland losing both of their games in that group. So the next game between Switzerland and Belgium is most likely going to dictate which of those teams is going to finish top of their group, give them the best opportunity to progress into the finals in the later stages of this tournament. 15 seconds left off this match now. It's definitely slowly beginning to peter out, though there are some players still doing a fair bit of running. That is the final whistle gone. Spain have beaten Croatia by 6 goals to 0. As surprising as it may sound, an emphatic performance by the Spanish side. They will go into their next games full of confidence. Croatia have been humbled here, and we'll see you in the next one.
Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last...